welcome to Every Day is a New Day.
Kim O'Neill from KimO'NeillCoaching.com.
We are live. Hello and welcome to another episode of Every Day is a New Day, where I have inspired conversations with awesome people about moving forward and choosing to embrace a positive outlook. My name is Kim O'Neill, and I'm also a personal empowerment and interview confidence coach. And if you're watching us live, that means you found us on Facebook at Kim O'Neill Coaching or one of the other pages this has been shared out to. And if you're watching the replay, then that means you found us over on YouTube or on bingenetworks.tv on the Every Day is a New Day channel. Either way, we're so happy to have you here, and we encourage you to absolutely comment, let us know where you're watching from, and feel free to post a question, any thoughts that come up for you as I'm talking with my awesome guest today, and we look forward to responding to you during the show as well as after. So thank you for being here. And with that said, I've got another awesome guest today. Today I have Serenity Raven-Wolf. So welcome, Serenity.
Hi, my beautiful friends.
Okay, so I love to always just start off by reading a little bit about the guest that I have today. So I'm going to read to you a little bit about her and with her bio, and then she's going to tell us more about her, of course. So Serenity Raven-Wolf is the Chief Love Officer of the Lead with Love movement. She supports heart-centered change makers and way showers how to embrace their unique contribution so they can fulfill their mission to bring forth a prosperous and harmonious peace on earth. She says that your uniqueness is your perfection and your gift to the world. She's a beacon of love in a tumultuous world, and for more than 30 years has been living, teaching, and promoting consciousness and love through all forms of media. She's the recipient of the 2017 Global Influencer Award and the 2017 Heart and Spirit Award from the Evolutionary Business Council. She's a Bestselling Co-Author, results coach, mentor, and law of attraction and self-love expert. She's an intuitive, a sensitive empath, and creator of the SoulSync process, a conversational energy resolution tool that leaves you and participants feeling deeply loved and serene. And that's just a little bit about who this wonderful lady is. So
being a beacon of love, the first thing I like to say is hello, my beautiful friend. You are magnificent, beautiful, radiant, and thank you for being here. I love you.
And she has you have this beautiful, deep, soothing voice, Serenity. Other people comment on your voice?
Yeah, actually, I did when my 25-year-old was really young, like a baby. I did a 6-month stint being a meditation teacher. I'd write my own guided meditations and stuff. And, I've got this personality that's everywhere, and really my voice used to be like 3 octaves higher back then too. And someone said, you're doing meditation classes with Serenity. And the lady said, yeah, I don't know what it is. Like this alter personality kicks in when she does it, but her voice just takes you on a journey and you get lost in it. So I'd say it's like she described it. It's like this alter personality kicked in.
I believe it. I totally get it. So that's wonderful. I love that. I didn't know that about Serenity. So thank you for sharing that today.
Not many people know that.
Yeah. So let me take a quick look on Facebook. It looks like we are showing up. We are awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. We are good to go. And Serenity, I would love for you to share with us a little bit more about who you are and, how you got to where you are today.
The best place to start is I've lived my life like most people and definitely like most women. I was born different. I never fitted in. I learned at a very young age to shut up and start divorcing, what I call divorcing part of myself. So that's disowning parts and not sharing who I am. And when you open your mouth and someone completely whack-a-moles you with when I say the way I see the world, and I learned at a young age that I see the world and experience the world through a very different set of lenses than most people. So shut up and divorce and try and fit in. And something I learned too that, always trying to be a square peg, different, fitting into a round hole. And in the last 5 years, I've learned there's no such thing as a square peg fitting into a round hole. It was just a construct to try and keep us thinking that we can never fit in.
Right.
What if there is no such thing and there is nothing to ever fit in? That it was our uniqueness that made the world this amazing place. So one day I divorced so much of myself and I felt so unhappy in life. And I looked in the mirror one day and I looked deep into my eyes, which I can't recall ever doing. I was brave that day. And I looked in and I said, who are you? And in a millisecond, I said, don't even answer that. I know the answer. I don't even like you. So in that moment, I knew I had choices to make because it's an inside job. Everything in my outer world was a pure echo of the me within. And I said, show me my life. If I keep following this exact path that I've been following, in 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years, I broke down in hysterical, soul-wrenching tears that I was thinking I was a shell of myself now. Mm-hmm. See myself in 30 years' time in my mind's eye in a quick, future pacing.
Okay.
It was devastating. So at that moment, I decided that it was time to support me. I made a promise to my soul that never again would I ever dishonor it, would I ever disown any part of myself to please another or to make another feel comfortable. You liked all of me or we were out of alignment. It's like at that moment I realized everything is just atoms, molecules, and space. It's either like a light switch in alignment or not in alignment. And if it's not in alignment with you, it's off.
Right.
And if it's off, why is it even in your energy bubble? I would never again ignore my whispers, and I would become my own divinely loving presence. I would be the guide. No more teachers, no more seeking gurus outside of myself. I was to become my own guru, and it was between me and God. God to me is an acronym, great overall designer, was between me and God. And if I can't learn to listen to you, then I've got a problem. Take me now.
Whew. Okay. So I love that you're sharing that with us. So before you came to that place where you looked at yourself in the mirror, did you know throughout that you had been divorcing yourself?
Sort of. That's that whisper that I eventually, at that moment, defining moment, I promised I would never ignore ever again, regardless of how seemingly insignificant or stupid the statement or the guidance from it was, that I would listen to it first. Even if I was running 10 minutes late, and an instance of that was I was running like 10 minutes late to pick my daughter up from school. And I didn't take my wallet that day. And this little whisper says, take $2 with you. What for? I'm running late. Normally, like everyone else, I would ignore that. It was a little whisper, nothing more. So I turned around, unlocked the door, went in and got $2, came back out. My daughter was to go visit her boyfriend or friends for the afternoon. She'd lost her train money. So when we listen to that whisper, and that's a part of the journey of becoming your own divinely loving presence, because that's the most loving thing you can do for yourselves, because that whisper is that greater part of you, that higher octave, that higher expression of you, that part of you that is a part of the everything that couldn't, even if it tried, fit into this small vessel, guiding you in the most loving way that it can, and it does it from the whisper.
Okay, so I love this, Serenity. I love so much of what you're sharing with us already. I think you hit the nail on the head at the very beginning when you said something about every woman, deals with this or experiences this. I agree. Yeah, it's you don't know that you're doing it, at least not at the beginning, and then somewhere along the way you might start to realize it. But what was that like for you when you finally realized? I mean, it sounds like you had a very confronting one-on-one conversation with yourself about.
It was rather uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh. But so what came next after that? When you said, "Okay, I'm going to start to listen to these whispers," what was that like? From that confronting moment with yourself to, "Okay, I'm going to start to change this." Do you remember that moment, that space in between?
For a little while, I had choices to make. And understanding the alignment that I mentioned a little while ago, it's either on or off, I recognized that the man that I had been with for 19 and a half years, since I was 18 and I was nearly 38 at this time.
Okay.
I can never, ever, ever, God bless his cotton soul, I can never, ever be and have all of me. because just me showing up as a little bit more of me totally offends the man. And he is perfect just the way he is, in alignment with somebody else who's in alignment with where he's just meant we were out of alignment. If it's out of alignment, why am I have this person in my life? And a question I like to ask myself, and it comes from one of the Stephen Coveys. I forget which one of the father, son, don't remember, but it's knowing what I know now, would I? Finish the sentence. I live off of that since I heard that. So knowing what I know now, would I be in an intimate relationship with a person like this? The answer is no. The moment the answer is no, you have choices and decisions to make to support you in your journey, because from that moment on, you're wasting your time and your life, their time and their life, and everyone else who's involved with the two of you. So you're even not only holding yourself back from living your dream life, you're potentially holding them back from their perfect aligned partner.
Right.
And I had to make the choice to leave. And it's, what was I teaching my daughter? I have 3 daughters. And they were all at that time under the age of 10. What am I teaching my daughters? What life am I teaching my daughters to live? What sort of relationship intimately am I teaching my daughters to have if I stay? And then that broke my heart even more than me doing that to myself.
Is it safe to say that your daughters gave you strength?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because and now looking like 11 years down the track, I've attracted my perfect in alignment soulmate. We just had 11-year anniversary. My daughters are attracting beautiful relationships. They're true to themselves. They know to have date night. It's like my daughters would not be who I know they are today had I stayed. And that's not right, wrong, good, bad. This was the journey for me. I wanted more. I'd rather die from a lightning strike in that very mirror moment than to know what was coming. It was even worse than becoming a cat woman.
Oh, thank you for sharing with us too that you were 38 when you realized this is what was going on and you wanted to make a shift. I think for a lot of people at that's still super young. I'm 39, by the way. So we're just but I think a lot of people, they think, oh no, I'm at this place in my life. We give an age, we assign ages to things. And if something feels like it's not working out, it can be so easy to, I personally don't believe in failure, but I know that word gets assigned to a lot of things. And was that any part of your story? And did you have to overcome a belief in failure?
Hugest belief I had. So making that choice that I had to then leave him to go, and then I would become a single parent with 3 kids. The youngest had only just over 12 months old.
Okay.
We just built a house together.
Oh, wow.
It was only a 12-month-old house.
Okay.
And it plummeted me into my greatest fear I had and will ever have in this lifetime. The golden apple at the top of the tree, being alone and doing it alone. Because I'm one of 7 siblings, so I was never alone. My mum never worked. She was always at home. Wow. I went from relationship into relationship, as women do, right? Into relationship. I was never single for long, and I'd be looking for another one, so I didn't feel alone. And yet that plummeted me into, I had, at the peak of that, I had friends on suicide watch. My 8 or 9-year-old at the time, who's now just turned 25, she begged me one night. She said, "Mum, please ring someone and get help." And she was crying. Aww. And so I tried to ring crisis care helpline for 3 hours straight every 10 minutes and couldn't get through. So I rang a girlfriend. And I said, "I don't know what's going to happen." This was the peak of the depression that it plummeted me into. She came around, and then the next morning I woke up and I sat on the living room chair in fetal position. Now there's crying, and then there's that guttural crying from the depths of your soul. Yeah. I was in fetal position, rocking backwards and forwards for at least 3 hours that morning, crying and muttering to myself, "Please take." No, I would never take my own life, but I was making in my mind arrangements with God for someone else to step in and me to go. So the soul that was in the body of that tongue, could go home. And she rang another girlfriend and said, I don't know what to do. So at that moment, they took me, and I got through that. I kept
Right.
wanting more, knowing there had to be more. So I kept searching, and I kept, and at that time too, that making that decision to be there for me and never divorce any part of myself, those parts of me that I buried started waking up one at a time, like separate entities, because I'd cut that part of my personality out and buried it in a dungeon. And I felt a little bit like schizo and multiple personality there for a little while. So I had a choice to berate myself and be my own world's worst abuser, like we all are, and beat myself up about that and think there was even more wrong with me. Or I chose to make a fun game out of it. So I started naming them, recognizing it was just aspects of my own personality anyway.
Wow.
Waking up. So, and they were varied as they were waking up. And when they woke up, I'd recognize them from when I was like 15. And I'd say, hello, sweetheart. I remember you. Welcome home.
Yeah. So the different parts of you were starting
and
to
then
be
I'd name them.
integrated.
Like I had Lucy. Lucy was like, is a 16-year-old maiden who just skips into a room. And now and again, Andy will just say, oh, hello, Lucy, because I'll be that maiden and she skips into the room. And, and there's Genevieve, and she's the really elegant one. And, Bianca was like the mistress the mistress. She's the one that can say anything. And we need these different aspects. We're like a disco ball. And a disco ball has all these little polished mirrors on it. And all I was doing was taking an aspect of that disco ball and burying it. And they were just coming back. And I just needed to polish them again. And this went on for many, many months. And eventually I just stopped playing with them, and they stopped. And you could take me to visit the Queen, or you could take me anywhere. And that's the creative side of you. That it was fun. And I'd even say, when I first met Andy, I'd joke with a text message and say, and who would you like waiting for you when you come home today? Got to make fun of it, right? I can either beat myself up about it, or I can make it a game.
Okay, well, Serenity, so if, should anyone see this who's experiencing something similar right now, I like to look at time frames, but I realize when you're so far removed from a situation, sometimes it can be easy to forget. But so my next question for you is, do you happen to recall how long it took you from when you were in that space of calling the hotline and rocking yourself to finding some sense of I don't know, but balanced is the right word, but some sense of like, okay, I'm more stable now. And
3 or 4 months.
Okay.
So I was instantly put on medication. I was absolutely taking myself off medication, weaning myself off at the 4 or 5 month mark.
Okay.
And I allowed it just because I was just too scared I hadn't completely embraced my fear of the being alone and doing it alone.
Was there
then
go ahead. Was there anything else you did during that 3 to 4 month period, in addition to, calling a friend, calling the hotline? Was there anything else that you did to?
Yeah, I had many arguments with God in the shower.
Okay.
Swearing and cursing and cussing like you shouldn't with God. But it's like, why me? I don't even believe. No, I started at the why me, and it was just, no, I'm not doing this. It's too big. This shouldn't have happened. It's like me, the little aspect of the entire of the universe. What do I even know? And it got to the point where the journey of becoming that divinely loving presence for yourself. Mm-hmm. Now it's just peaceful. It's this journey. And when that fear pops up now, I recognize it, and I'd say it's an aspect of me popping up that's fearful of something of the unknown, or something from the past that's tweaked it off. So the divinely loving presence just envelops it and says, hello, honey, it's okay. What's up? You're feeling scared today. That's okay. I love you. Would you like to tell me all about it? What we normally do is we try to squash it, or push it away, or bury it, or make it go away, or tell yourself how stupid you are in your ear, like a little bee in your ear. Instead, I find that whether it be fear or anxiety or whatever the negative anything that pops up, if we can just acknowledge it and recognize it's coming from some form of some sort of pain in us, and speak to it like you would say, a 2 to 3 year old child that woke up in the middle of the night with a bad dream, because that's how you're loving. And the loving presence, it's kind of like you would imagine Jesus would be, Buddha would be, an ascended master would be, an angel would speak to you, how you would imagine God would speak to you. That's the presence that we be here to be for ourselves.
Sometimes when I do these interviews, I get to a place where I'm like, I'm just enjoying it. So, and then I'm like, wait, okay, I got to ask a question. So Serenity, I love that the next part of your story, at least the next part that I'm aware of, you shared briefly with us, is that you met Andy. And so looking at a time frame from that, how long was it from when you had that breakdown moment to meeting him?
About 18 months, give or take. Now, that said, it could have been a lot sooner. Talk about get out of your own way, right?
Okay.
The last thing for me, now, Andy, talk about God moving mountains, right, to get you there. I learnt the law of attraction because the movie The Secret was out in 2007, and this was around about 2007 this was going on for me.
Okay.
And so I was learning the law of attraction and all of that stuff, and I was stuck on, and I needed this experience so I could explain to people why it's a really bad move. I was stuck. I met someone online, and he never showed any inclination that he was interested. In fact, my big personality scared the crap out of the man. And I was stuck on wanting to be with this person.
Okay.
So I'd been using what I call the clarity process, which I have created a booklet that I could share. I don't have that open in this 10 seconds, but it's a booklet, and it's a really simple process. Until you know what you want, the universe can't help you. Until you know what you want, you're like a piece of lint on the wings of the universe, floating around, helping other people fulfill their desires that know what they want. So clarity is king. So I needed to know what type of man I was looking for. So I have like the 3 columns, the not negotiables, which is your deal breakers. That needs to be there or not at all. Then there's the negotiable list, as long as 75% of that list is met, I'm happy. Now, if I care about what's in the 25%, I might need to renegotiate. It might be more important to me than I thought. So as long as 75, and then there's the wish list. If any of that is present on the already yummy icing cake, and the longer and more specific you can be about the list, and it's really about a journey of self-love. It's learning about what feeds your soul, what you like, what's in alignment with you. So it's really a journey, not about finding my soulmate. It's a journey about me getting to know me and what I like and dislike.
So that's a beautiful segue, because I do want to backtrack just a little bit. So between 18 months, that's a short amount of time. And the reason why I want to just address that is because I know when you're in that space where you just cannot see beyond the moment, and you're just, doing everything you can to, stay present for another 10 seconds, another minute, whatever. 18 months to see what a drastic change can happen in that time that's very inspiring. But with that said, knowing that this is not all about, let's just get another man, was there a moment before then where you felt like you got good with you? You got grounded and centered and...
Yeah. Until you get good with you, you will never... Everyone's looking for their soulmate, right?
Yeah.
Until you get good with you and you are your own soulmate, you are your own divinely loving presence, you'll never attract a soulmate. Ever. It's never going to happen. To have a soulmate in your life is a journey of self-love for you.
So what did you do?
You can only ever attract, Kim, someone who loves you as much as you love you.
Yeah. So what did you do? You said that you started talking lovingly to yourself. And the way I frame that is starting to be your own best friend versus your own best bully. We can do that one. But let's be the best friend instead. And was there anything else that you did to really get to that space where you're good being...
Listening to my whispers, because the whisper is your greatest guide.
Okay.
And I know that if you... And that's your intuition, really. What people call your gut feeling, your intuition. And it's, there's only atoms, molecules, and space in all of the universe. And it's the whisper lives in the space. And sometimes it's the one that has the answer for you even before you finish posing your question. that we skip straight over and go to the cognitive mind. And my thoughts are, if your cognitive mind had all the answers, we'd all be living our dream life already. So let's say that maybe there's something in that intuition, that whisper that's guiding you, your best friend that's guiding you. So that it was just a journey of me becoming my own guide, listening to myself, listening to my own intuition, following the path, even if it logically, cognitively was a stupid, why would you want me to go? Okay. If it felt, and learning that there's only heavy energy, which is heavy is a lie for you and out of alignment, like access consciousness.
Right.
And there's light, which is right for you and a truth for you. What's right for one and a truth may not be the same for another.
Right.
And vice versa. So it's learning that for you and learning to go with whatever path feels light and right, regardless of how cognitively silly it seems in the moment. And just nurturing yourself and tending to your needs and making sure you're becoming selfish, really. Like in the aeroplane where they say in the safety, you know, if we have an accident, please be so selfish, I'll insert a word that isn't really there, that you will take care of you with the mask before you even take care of your child.
Yeah.
Because until you're taken care of, until your cup is not just full, but overflowing, you can never really truly give and or love another or be of service to anyone, not even yourself. So you should never, ever fill from an empty cup. You should only ever fill from your overflowing saucer below the cup.
And I love that too. Give from the saucer, not from the cup. You know, let's
Yeah, and then there's the word saucer, which is like sauce. Give from the sauce.
Oh yeah, I think this was you. This was you that yeah.
I said that recently on an interview with Maribeth, Marbeth Dunn, and she heard the word sauce, and she said that, and I went, oh, you know, you have that. Oh, yes. Got to give her credit. She got that one.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, on that note, what are some self-care things you do to keep your cup full?
I nurture myself. If to me, there's only if anything feels, well, we only learn from what Spirit brings through to me, a feather brick Mack truck. Feather is something feels uncomfortable, a little bit out of alignment. I feel a bit off today. Something doesn't feel like it's quite working in the flow of everything. Feels a little bit less than blissful or good. So then I just ask, something along the lines of what energy, space, and consciousness do I on my body need to be? Or what do I need to do or be to get back on? I call it the yellow brick road because I'm heading towards, you know, to meet the wizard, you know, because I like magic. So to get back on it, and that's all in my and whatever language it is for you, to be back on my path where I am meant to be, to feel blissful. So sometimes that could be serenity, just go for a walk. Go away from the computer for 5 minutes. Shut the door for an entire weekend and turn the computer off. And in those moments, I know that it's time to nurture me, whether that be what I call wetitating. I go meditate in the bath. It was the only way I could stop the kids from interrupting my meditation. At 9 p.m. at night, when the youngest was in bed at 8:30, I'm allowed to go off duty. And I put a date in my calendar. In fact, like 5 years later, I still have it. 9 p.m. every night pops up, Serenity's wetitation, my date with myself. When I have a choice to whether I take it or not, but unless I write it in my calendar, I'm never going to have it.
Yeah, good for you.
And then I go, and then I would lock the door, put on some candles, put my iPod in my ears, and I would lay in a bath and wetitate. I even created a new word because then it feels like you're just in this womb with all the warm water surrounding you, and then all that icky stuff that comes out of the pores. I wave goodbye and I say, I love you. Thank you for visiting. Feel free to never return. And I love you regardless. And then I send it back off to source as a down the drain. So I did little things like that, a lot better care of myself, listening to the whispers, loving myself in all possible ways.
If there, what message or advice or wisdom would you share with someone who's experiencing something similar in their life right now?
Stop being your own world's best abuser. No one, regardless of how horrific things you have had ever in your life, And please, if you're ever in an unsafe situation, please put yourself into safety and love yourself so much that you will take care of you and support you. Though, regardless of how horrific anything can ever be, no one can ever abuse you more, bigger, or worse than you abuse you. Ever. Period. Become your own divinely loving presence. That's become your own best friend. Listen to those whispers, because nothing has supported my journey more than being that. And I've got this huge personality, you know, and in the go figure. And in the past, you know, I wasn't liked by many people because I was so in people's faces. So by becoming that presence for myself, not only was I following the guidance of this loving voice inside and presence, I'm kind of becoming, period, that loving presence. And I can tell you, nothing has opened up my world to yumminess more than me being that, because now I can be overflowingly that for myself from my saucer, be that to others. And I can meet a stranger that's having a bad day, and I said, hello, my beautiful friend. I love you. And they just melt. And now I can be that presence for other people. So that's like the next stage of the journey. It starts overflowing, and it's like the best client attractor you could ever have. Way more people like me now than ever did. And all it was is I was at alignment with myself. I was trying to fit in. I was trying to be like everybody else. And guess what? I'm an alien, just visiting, hanging out in a human suit for a lifetime just to help out Gaia.
Wow.
I'm never going to fit in.
What did you say? I'm never going to forget?
I'm never going to fit in. So, okay. and the greatest thing is owning that. So what I used to beat myself up and abuse myself about and to hide and bury, I started owning and reclaiming that, stepping into that. And now they are all my greatest powers. And they are literally everything that people used to laugh at and pick on me for, and I used to try and bury to try and fit in, are my greatest gifts because they are my greatest uniqueness. And they are exactly my strengths and why people come to me now.
It sounds like you definitely, at a young age, before that relationship, before divorcing yourself, you knew who you were. And then you had this moment of coming back to yourself, versus I think there are a lot of other people who don't even know who they are to begin with. And they don't realize how, because they haven't fully connected to that, they're thinking.
Now, it was more like actually a deja vu for me. Not that I knew myself, but when those aspects of me started to wake up again, it's like that deja vu. I remember you. This feels familiar.
Right, right.
And then I would ask myself the question in that moment as it was waking up, when do I remember this presence last being in my life? And it all went back to like I was about 15, 16, a teenager.
So as I was commenting on part of that whole fitting in thing, I think a lot of people don't know who they are to begin with. And they just fit in and they go through life continuing to be that way, not knowing that we're all different and unique. And I think the people who tend to have that sense about themselves to begin with, when they realize they've divorced themselves so much, then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is painful, versus I can recall there was a time, some point in my life, when it didn't feel like this. And so that's where I was coming from. But so I
guess I was just agreeing. I, like everybody else, didn't really even know myself either. I grew up pretty damn normal in those respects. Every woman being of service to everybody else to the detriment of yourself, divorcing parts of myself, trying to fit in. It was very nice to be able to, for where I am now, to be able to look back and know that where I am, I'm nothing special. No more special than you and everyone else. My journey has been very similar to many, many other people's. And I've just made different choices. And I have what I call, it's like what we've just been describing is what I call, most people are still sleepwalking in what I call the dream of the 3D matrix, which is exactly what you just described, that place where you don't even know who you are, you're trying to fit in, life is happening to you instead of through you, it's dense, you're your own world's worst enemy. And none of us have this awakening, as we awaken from the dream of the 3D matrix, and we start asking, when we start getting this hint that there is more to this life than this.
Yeah.
So you start asking questions. What is that? What is there? There's got to be more than this. So it starts with questions are powerful. You start asking questions about, what is there more? What can I do to be different? What can I do differently to have a different reality? You start reading different types of books. And it's like, I call it DID, do it differently, until you do it differently. It's like the first sign of insanity is doing what you've always done and expecting to get a different result. So when you do what you've always done, you'll only get what you always got. So you've got to ask different questions, and you've got to ask different things, and you've got to make different choices. And only by didding on yourself, doing it differently. And how that starts, how can I do this differently? Recognize that you're following the same pattern that you always do. You can just simply ask, how can I do this differently? And it doesn't have to be huge.
Right.
It can be eat toast for breakfast this morning instead of Cocoa Pops like you have done for the last 35 years every morning.
Just little subtle mini changes that can have such a larger impact.
Well, we all understand compound interest over time, right? Mm-hmm. Those little changes start, and it's like there's only 3 states that we're in. There's either we're in some state of integration, stagnation, like nothing, and I forget the third phase, was a bad example. Anyway,
that's okay.
Well, unless we're doing things differently and adding little changes, we become this stagnant water because the energy can't flow through. Yeah. So how to keep the universal energy flow, which is a universal law, is out with the old, which is everything that has ceased to serve you. And that includes people, places, and things. Like part of that journey, I decided even to be true to myself if it was out of alignment, and that included people, whether they were DNA or not. And I would go seek family. Family to me means tribe, people that are in alignment with me, with where I'm at, that are loving and supportive. And I released everything. I don't really even have one relationship that is older than 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Other than the odd family, and some of my family members I haven't seen for over 10 years. Because we're out of alignment. We're just not right, wrong, good, bad. I love them with all of my heart. But unless it serves me in some way and lovingly supports me and my choices and the way I go, and that whenever I speak, their eyes don't glaze over. How we got that with family members, right? Mm. You can love people and choose to not have them as a part of your life, in your energy bubble, because that's the path of becoming what I call being the energytarian. And it's like being a vegetarian, though it's about energy, because whatever you have in your energy bubble and you're surrounding yourself with, you're eating it.
Right.
So I've got to the point where I become like the vegan energytarian. I'm insanely fussy about what energy I surround myself with in my very, very, very fussy. And it either is in alignment with me and lovingly supports me, or it's gone and I don't care who or what it is.
I love that. Energytarian. Okay, well, you've shared with us a lot of different insights. Do you have anything extra to add if I were to ask you the question, what does every day is a new day mean to you?
And what I've heard other guests say, and I have to admit it, it's more than just every day. You get down to the smaller levels, it's every moment, it's every minute, it's every second, it's every millisecond. And every one of those, and even with every breath that I take, I'm reborn.
And what do you think
and
is
I'm
the
free.
key? What do you think is the key to allowing someone to experience that every moment, every breath being different than the previous one?
Presence.
Okay.
So even like becoming that divinely loving presence, your best friend, it's period, just one word, it's just presence. Be present in your body. A lot of us, especially when you're walking through the dream of the 3D matrix in some version of awakeness, it's when we're abusing ourselves and stuff and all of that and we're not present in our bodies, we're ejecting out of it. So how can we ever become our divinely loving presence if we're constantly ejecting our consciousness out of our body? Oh, out I go again. It's like allowing more of that in your body, growing your connection with your higher. Some people use the word your higher self for what I call that. That's the more woo-woo word for it, but I thought I'd chuck it in case there's some woo-woo people along with me listening.
I take it all. I use the term higher self, and I don't care if it's woo-woo or what.
So it's just presence. Be present for starting with yourself. And when you can be that for yourself, it's amazing what shift you have in your life when you start becoming present for other people. Like and presence is actually listening to people instead of writing your shopping list or thinking what you're saying next. When you're listening to another person, and nothing is more attractive when you're with someone when they're fully present and in their body for you. You feel loved, supported, and appreciated in that moment. And there's something about them that is magnetic. So if you're looking to kick clients coming in and growing your businesses, being present for yourself first and then your clients and your business and everything is insane. It'll put everything on steroids. It's a game changer.
What tips do you have for someone to be present for themselves?
For me, it started with little baby steps. And the little baby step was, if I could remember even once today to put my hands in my heart, even if it while I was going to the bathroom.
Yep.
I love you, Serenity. I love you. I love you. I love you for just a minute. It feels uncomfortable, sometimes insanely uncomfortable, because we have these two inner folders. One's called the inner unfamiliar folder and the inner familiar folder. It feels uncomfortable when you start doing different things differently, right? It just means it's in your inner unfamiliar folder. How do you get from here, files from here to here? You just keep doing it. Practice makes the master. Practice is what takes it from inner unfamiliar to the inner familiar folder. And then that's when your cup is starting to feel full. Now I can just tell anyone and everyone, even if I met you 3 seconds ago, I love you, and you feel it.
The other thing I love about putting your hand on your heart is I find that to be another form of grounding, or at least it's very subtle, but it just brings me back to my body. It's like, oh, that's right. I'm not all up here. I may have been until I put my hand here and I go, oh, that's right. I am here and it's okay.
It also takes, and intention is powerful. So where you touch, it literally takes your intention to where it is you're touching. So it takes you, and most of us live in our heads, and that's where the abuser lives, in here. You know, to become that presence, you need to get from here down into here. And by putting your hands over your heart, it is literally sort of taking you out of here and into here. And I like to call the heart the TARDIS. So you hear a lot of people saying, I want to go home, you know, and that one is absolutely underlined, bold letters and inverted commas. I want to go home, because we feel separate from everything, including ourselves. But we never left home. We just came through the veil of forgetfulness, closed the door, which, by the way, resides in our heart. So when we enter back down here, suddenly we don't feel separate from everything. We feel a part of everything, including ourselves, our lives, the relationships that are in it, and everything that's happening to us. Life starts happening through you instead of to you.
I love that.
So that would be the first number one, to get out of here, down into here, and it starts with just a couple of, and if I remember to do that once today, awesome. Tomorrow I might remember to do it twice.
Serenity, tell us more about the work that you do with your clients.
Yes. I've been speaking a lot about all of the tips and tools that I've been sharing is kind of what I'm all about. Becoming starts with, you know, the first part of the journey, lead with love, is the topic. And movement just means it's huge. And there's lots of people together lovingly supporting each other. Though it starts with self-love, loving yourself, with all the tips and tools that I've been sharing. And then the second stage of that journey is, once your cup is overflowing and you've got this overflowing saucer, you can start being that for people outside of yourself, your family, your friends, your community, your clients. And then the third stage of the Lead with Love journey is, once you can be that for yourself and for the greater community, it's like a group of old elders from an American Indian tribe coming together as what I call the legacy leaders, that want to come together and change the world in very beautiful ways. And it's this type of group of people that will change the way things are on this planet to that prosperous, harmonious peace on earth, where money ceases to exist. I don't see how it's going to happen, and I don't need to know the how, but I have this deep inner knowing. Money does cease to exist. Politics as we know it cease to exist. People, as we wake up, people start becoming leaving the service to self and power over others paradigm, which is a paradigm of the past, into the power within and service to others paradigm. And you can see there's signs of this everywhere, that we're becoming that. And that's what the legacy leaders are all about. How can we leave a beautiful legacy for generations to come by changing the way things are done on this planet? So I do transformational readings because I'm intuitive. So I do these amazing, yummy, what I call transformational intuitive mentoring, because it's more like a mentoring session. So I use some cards and I just use them as an excuse to bring through. And the cards just give a beautiful, and Kim's had one of those. They're kind of yummy. So I've got those, and I do, I'm starting to create courses and stuff to do digitally online.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice how she did hers differently, and things flowed very.
It's more like a mentoring session instead of a reading, right? But I'm kind of doing a reading because I'm using cards.
Exactly. It was a combination. Yeah, you said it perfectly. It was a combination reading, mentoring session. And it was really nice how it showed up. And I just have this visual right now of the cards laid out. And it kind of felt like a game too. Like the way you gave us that visual. I love that. I just love, I don't know. I have a thing with games. So the fact that it like somehow resembled a game to me, like adds an element of fun to it. So if anyone else is out there.
I like to be fun. Fun is a part of one of my like personal values, and I've made it one of my business because my business is kind of me. So I like to have fun.
Well, good job. You infused it into the layout of how yeah, exactly. So, okay, we are getting close to the end of the show, and I just want to make sure we touch on everything. Will you share for everyone, what is your SoulSync process? You say that you're the creator of the SoulSync process, a conversational energy resolution tool that leaves participants feeling deeply loved and serene. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, along the lines, it's kind of like, if anyone understands, there's NLP, and in NLP there's this parts integration. So it's based off of that, where I'm integrating that part, like that anger or that fear or anything. In fact, I've used it. Someone said my condo won't sell, and if it doesn't sell, I need to go bankrupt. I said, well, let's try the SoulSync process to speak to because I work off everything as just energy, right? And the energy pockets, and we work with that. And we worked with that. And it's about soul syncing. It's like it sinks that back into alignment and back into your heart, where everything resides. And that kind of like resolves it. It feels loved and supported. And I speak to it along the lines of that 2-year-old child. So that's why everyone at the end of it feels deeply loved and serene. And sometimes in this average 10 to 15 minutes for one. I've done one in as little as 1 minute and 50 seconds. It can be that quick. And sometimes like in a 5-minute span, the vibration of who the person was at the beginning and at the end, it's like it's a totally different person. They've had such a huge shift. Some people are saying, 6 months later, something that has followed me with all the counseling and stuff that I've had for 30 years, still feel like there's someone walking around behind me wanting to kill me. And we've done the SoulSync process with 6 months later, it's never come back.
Nice.
And all you do is just welcome it back into your heart.
And how can people find out more about you or connect with you after the show if they'd like to schedule a session?
You could catch up with me over at serenityravenwolf.com. That would be SERENITYRAVENWOLF.com.
Wonderful. Okay. And I'm wondering, as we're recording this I'm just going to announce it on August 8th, 2018. And I'm just curious, do you have any thoughts that you'd like to share on the symbolism of what August 8th represents?
Yeah, except for my life path number numerologically is an 8 life path number.
Oh, okay.
So that's rather funny. 8 is all about abundance, manifesting, opulence, material things. So, if you equate that to what our topic has been about, how about you have an abundance of yourself, an abundance of love for yourself to completely be a game changer for your life? Kim, I have one question. May I ask you one question? I know I'm the guest, but I have one question. I'd like to sneak a question in on you.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, because I like to do things differently, right? I
Yeah.
can't just be a normal guest. Okay, so if you could send a message to the entire world, what would you say in 30 seconds?
In 30 seconds, I would say keep going. There's more. There's more, and it gets better and it gets better. And the whole conversation that we had at the start about listening to your intuition or those whispers, I would say connect with that as early on in life as you can. And at that, even with that said, it's never too late. But yeah, the earlier we can start to live from that place, wow, so much more ease. Now, that doesn't mean everything's going to like happen, perfectly, but we then, okay, we now know where to shift, and it makes things easier. So that's what I would say. Thank you for asking me, Serenity.
That's a good question. I think I'm going to keep that question in my question box.
It is a good question. I'm going to say that's a good answer too. So, chicking. Okay, kidding.
Ding.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's see. I think I asked all the main questions I wanted to ask you, Serenity. Is there anything extra you would like people to know about you that maybe we haven't already covered, or?
There's a gift called Fast Track Yourself. Sorry, try again. Fast Track Your Destiny in less than 5 minutes. Okay. It's an 85-page ebook that at the end of the show in the comments below, I'll put the link to it.
Okay. Okay, wonderful.
And you can download that and help you kick off your journey. But just the one thing I always like to leave people with is, and I'm getting teary already.
Aww.
If you could only sense 1% of how amazing and magnificent you truly are, perfectly imperfect, just the way you are, compared to what I see and how I experience you in the world, you're on the right track. You're amazing, and I love you. I always get teary when I do that because I can feel everybody. Well, that's from my heart to yours.
Thank you for that, Serenity. That was beautiful. And thank you to all those who've been with us here live. I see a hello from Kathy. So hello, Kathy. So good to have you here with us. And all those that are on the replay with us, please do go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know what you're taking away from this conversation with Serenity Ravenwolf and myself today. And we would love to connect with you after the show as well. So you can find out more about Serenity by going to, I don't want to botch it, pull it up again, or how about you just say it? Where's the best place? SerenityRavenwolf.com, right?
No hyphen, although I do have it with the hyphen as well in case you put a hyphen in there.
Okay, so SerenityRavenwolf.com, you can find out more about her and her mentoring sessions and the SoulSync process that she does. Yeah, SoulSync process. And all of that. And if you'd like to find out more about me, you can go to KimO'NeillCoaching.com or go to, or on Facebook, go to @KimO'NeillCoaching, look at the events, and you can see what future interviews and shows I've got coming up. And again, just remember, every day, every moment, every breath, I love how she broke it down further and further, is an opportunity to experience a new day or a new breath.
And to be reborn. Moment. Like a new day is like be reborn in every breath.
To be reborn, absolutely. And wherever you are today, and today is, yes, a metaphor for all those other ones, moment, breath. Wherever you are today does not have to be where you are tomorrow. And so just to remember that, keep going, and it's never too late. Like, my gosh, like so many things can still evolve and come regardless of whatever you're experiencing now. There truly are infinite possibilities. And just if you're just tuning in, listening to the tail end of this show, I invite you to listen to the beginning and hear Serenity's story and how in such a short amount of time she was really able to go from being here to going over there. Very inspiring, Serenity. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love you too.
Aw, thank you. Much love to you. And thank you to all those that are with us. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.